Normally, it tells me it started recording.
It says it's been recorded on mine. It says this meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh man. Well, Chris and Dom from Sheep Farm, welcome to my channel.
Hey, guy, you all right?
I'm
Thanks for
good.
having us
How are
on.
you two?
Very well, thanks. Very good. Yeah, very well.
So what's new?
um, well, we were just saying off air. Go on, Don. What were you going to say?
I was just saying, it shows how interesting we are.
I know nothing.
Zilchio. Yeah.
I've been working in the kitchen today, so I actually left my house for once. I don't leave very often these days. But
Really?
no, not really. I don't know. I've really, what is it lately? Grounded myself at home, but I'm not that fond of leaving these days.
Well, I thought you worked in a restaurant.
Yeah, I do, but not often. Not that often anymore.
Oh, what? So right, okay,
I
okay,
don't. I've only been part-time for a while now.
right.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in and out. They kind of use me when they need me. I went self-employed as a chef, so
Right, okay.
yeah. And now it's coming up to Christmas. I only ask for a very few shifts because I get busy with my sculptures as well. Just
Yeah,
got my little sculpture business. So I just want one shift a week, basically.
yeah, just to keep your hand
Until
in.
yeah, just till January. Yeah.
Well, we've got that. We've got obviously this podcast.
Mm.
So we set up as member site of the podcast. So basically, Chris went part time then, I think, didn't he, Chris?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but almost at the same time, my little sculpture. Well, it was 2020. My little sculpture business kicked off at the same time. So it all just triangulated where I can do those three things now, which is good.
And you had your event recently as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, we've had three actually this year. We've done four. We did when we Rise Above at the beginning of the year, didn't we? But that wasn't our event. But we've had three. We've organised three events. Apparently, we're controlled opposition because we're organise events and charge people to come in. So that means you're controlled opposition.
Oh, yes, because everything should be free if it's the
Oh
truth,
yeah,
shouldn't it?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
dictionaries in Waterstones.
Yeah.
You just take one.
I never thought that, Dom, because if we'd have let everyone in for free, it would cost us about fucking £5,000.
Well, that doesn't matter though,
That don't matter,
because it's
though.
the truth. You know, you're talking
yeah.
about the truth, so
Right.
you know you shouldn't charge for that, whatever you do.
Well, in fact, the money I earned from that now, right, I've actually been able to buy a castle in Scotland.
Ah, yeah.
That one event that we charge people.
It's weird, isn't it? Because no one ever complained about Philip Schofield getting paid for being on ITV, even though we were nimbling young lads. You know what I mean? that were all right, wasn't it? That were all right. I'm sure Jimmy Savile got paid quite handsomely.
Yeah.
You know, that were all right. But
Yeah.
those evil northern bastards.
Yeah.
And you, Guy, you're writing books and charging for it. How dare you?
I know, and
Disgusting.
it's something I've tried to avoid, but you know, I can't get them for free, and the post office down the road, they want me to pay to ship
they?
them out.
Bloody
Yeah,
hell.
they
Dare
actually
they?
charge me posting.
I thought you just threw them in air and fairy just took them to people's houses.
Yeah, it's the same fairy that pays my bills.
I think it's the same fairy that says we're controlled opposition.
Yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I get it all the time. The latest one is David Icke's a shape-shifting reptilian.
And he the one who came up with it.
Yeah, but now he's
I think that's
one,
called full circle.
Yeah, everyone, isn't it? And if it's not that, then you know I'm a 33rd degree Freemason apparently,
Right.
And you know my butler laughs every time.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Every
bizarre,
time he's
isn't
cleaning
it?
your bedpan out. Yeah, geez,
I'm not-
that bedpan's full.
I'm not actually sat on a chair. I'm just sat on a pile of cash.
Is that from all them live events we've done this year, Chris?
I turned it into like an armchair just of money.
Oh, that's fantastic, and that's just what people expect.
Yeah.
So it won't
I
come
mean-
as a surprise to anyone.
I can't. If I'm honest, I can't blame folk for, saying that.
Being fucking idiots. I'll say it if you were.
All right, but because the world we're in, I mean, there will be, won't there? But I think I take the stand of most everyone we've met. I think has been fine, so I'm not going to judge your.
Did you know where I go? Is what are they saying? What are they actually talking
There's not
about?
many people who disagree with us here.
Well, there's quite a few people I disagree with, but what I'm trying to say is the people that, like yourself, Guy, and Mark Devlin, and people like, there's not much that people say that offends me.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
very little. When I say offend, I'm on about your intellect.
Well,
You know, you might not
if,
agree with a little bit or nitpicky there
yeah.
and there.
But if they're leading down a road, what road is it? Because I don't understand.
No, I
Yeah,
don't
Because
know.
exactly.
there's one thing we definitely all agree on, that the people that run this shit show are lying, scheming, murdering bastards.
Mm.
So if we've got that out of the way, whatever other things you believe in or don't believe in, it's fine.
Yeah.
I
I
don't.
get an awful lot of religious people that
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, which is quite strange because I had an amazing message from someone that was telling me to go and fuck myself because they didn't
Right.
like something I'd posted,
That's a
followed
rare
by,
skill. That's a rare skill, guy.
if only I could. Yeah, I was just not blessed in that
It'd beat
way.
a double end, wouldn't it?
Yeah, better than the usual. But I thought, isn't this weird? And it was after that, it was all about how Jesus needs to enter my life, and if I don't accept Jesus, and I thought, if Jesus is out there and Jesus can see everything and God is watching over us, they just saw what you wrote.
What go? Did it actually say go fuck yourself?
Yeah, yeah. And I thought, wow,
At least
spoken
they were
like a
clear.
true Christian.
Yeah. It's the Zionist Christians generally that are on the worst.
Do you know something?
Or
I
the best,
remember,
whichever way you want to look at it.
I'm not slagging off religion, right? But I remember as a kid, and I was only young. I was really young. I was listening to the radio, and it was a call-in show. And weirdly enough, I was thinking about this today, and it was a call-in show. So I was like 19 or something. It's only young. And they were on about being a Christian, and people were ringing in saying I'm a Christian. And this woman rang in and said, and I'm always, I say a little prayer every year, every week for lottery to win lottery. And even as a youngster, I thought, should you be doing that? You're pretty sure that that isn't what you should be wishing for if you're because you're religious. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, you can't just because you say that thing doesn't mean you're a good person, does it?
No,
Like
not
you
at
just
all.
explained, Guy.
And I think, if you support one team and I support another, and we both pray to God for our teams to win,
Yeah, who's
who
gonna?
does he pick?
Well,
And what do we
The
do?
most deserving guy. The most deserving.
Yeah.
The one who prays hardest.
Yeah, the one who prays hardest, or the one who gives the most money when they
The
walk
one who
in and
touches the wall.
yeah, taps their credit card against that little the donation box that's now got a
the thing,
credit card machine attached to it.
the thing is, at the core of most religions, it's mostly good stuff. But throughout the ages, they've bound to have been thwarted by human beings.
Do you know why, Chris?
Why?
I was going to say, do you know why? Because humans are involved when you said it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they haven't. They've been used to thwart, cause wars, cause trouble, and then you get to a point now where someone's emailing you saying to go and fuck yourself, but you should be following this and that and telling you what you should be doing, even though they should have just sent one back saying forgive me. Because isn't it all about forgiveness? So why do they get so angry about what other people's thought? Because I do believe in a creator of sorts. I don't know. I don't know what religion
or creators.
or creator or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Or creators.
Because as a human, as a thing, we're definitely designed. Everything around us, it looks designed to me.
I'd say they made a bit of a fuck up though.
Well, who knows? It might be exactly how it's supposed to be. Who knows? But there's a design element to everything. I remember as a kid again cutting up vegetables, and you look at them, see everything's there, isn't it? Everything's there, ready to go. To say it came out of a fucking swamp of mud, I mean, I can't buy that. So
No, I think we were created.
Yeah.
Or certainly adapted.
Made or
spliced or whatever.
Yeah, spliced or something.
I
I think we're all connected, but I think that the 4,200 different religions to choose from, and each one think that they're the truth, that they are the way, and they'll kill you in some situations because you don't agree with them.
Yeah,
and going to war.
It's funny when you say it out loud, isn't it? Actually,
yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all, does it? And we know that the Bible's been badly translated, half of it's missing, and it was written hundreds of years after the event. So
I think there's some historical stuff there, but it's just been you can tell it's been messed with, can't you? As soon as it's used as a power tool, it's dodgy.
Maybe David Attenborough wrote it. The David Attenborough version of the Bible.
And I've gone right off him,
I went off him a few years ago.
Yeah, me too, guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Quite a
I'm
long
glad it's
time
not
ago.
just me, because
Yeah.
sometimes you can't go there with him. And I just think
No, people love him, don't they?
he makes us, it's almost like his documentaries now, where he takes 100 people with him,
Yeah.
to these remote places. And one of them apparently is his personal chef. And then he tells us that we should feel bad because, there are 3 polar bears left on this iceberg and they're all going to die soon because of you and you not having a Tesla. Instead of burning fossil fuels, your carbon footprint's through the roof. Keep my personal chef out of the,
Yeah,
camera
camera,
shot
yeah.
just for a moment. And everything's going to melt and die because of you selfish bastards.
Yeah,
It's all your
imagine the
fault.
expense and the fuel of carrying all his crew over all
Exactly.
over the world.
Yeah.
But I used to love his thing is, but then all of a sudden it became. Do you remember when he came out with microplastics?
Mm.
And then that were it, wasn't it? Now everyone's fucking worried about microplastics.
You do know his father, was one of the founders of the euthanasia program in the UK.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
I
it tells you
haven't
where-
got the. I think it was called Frederick Attenborough.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he was one of the. I forget what it was. Do you know there's a site in, is it Euthanasia UK or something? There's something. It's called a different name now, but it was the same thing in the 1930s.
Yeah, I remember you doing a thing on it.
Yeah, we did a podcast on it. I did some research on his background and what have you. And
Wasn't there some weird story about him seeing someone do a speech or something?
yes,
And then he knew.
Yeah, I
That's-
forget. I'd have to
I
dig
can't
all
remember
the
the details.
information out, but
There's a
yeah,
lot
but
of weird world building behind it, weren't there?
he's got a build. His father's got a building named after him at, is it Leicester University or some at it's like some at the Attenborough Tower or something like that. I think
There's one here, Dom.
Attenborough
There's an
building.
Attenborough museum here.
Yeah.
I went in to look at the fake dinosaur bones. And on each one it said these are not, this is not a real dinosaur, but every single one said it weren't real.
So is that in Cambridge?
Yeah. I didn't, do you know,
Right.
it's weird. I didn't even know it was there. My mate came to see me and he went there with his kids. And I'm like, what? Where? And he showed me where it was. I'd been here years. And I went, but it's fairly new though. It's fairly new. It's like a miniature version of what's the one in London?
National Museum.
Natural history?
Natural history.
yeah, that's the one.
It's like a miniature version of that.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Cambridge for a while, but I grew up there. I lived there till I was about 13.
How did you?
Yeah. I was in Harston.
Right.
My grandparents were in Sawston.
Right.
Then I had some relatives in Stapleford.
I'm near Sawston, actually. Not far.
Yeah, you're not far from there.
Trumpington,
I was talking to my mum earlier on. She used to live in Cambridge, but she moved to Bishop Stortford now. And I said, where you lived.
Right.
And she was, she was getting excited. This might be one she actually watches, because the only interesting thing I could tell her about it that she would resonate with was
This in
Trumpington.
Cambridge.
Yeah.
I hope she ain't listening because we've been swearing his heads off.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Mrs. Anderson. I apologise.
I don't know. If I sat there and put YouTube on her TV for her, within a couple of minutes, she'd be gone anyway.
Right.
Her attention span is
0.
She read my first book and then after that went and got the winter flu jab. And I said, Mum, you didn't read it, did you? She said, yeah, I did. I read it twice. I said, well, maybe next time wear your glasses, because if you'd read what I'd written, you wouldn't have rolled up your sleeve again this winter.
They just sent... Oh,
Go,
God,
sorry, Chris. No, it's all right.
No, just on the subject of flu jibber jabbers, I just got a thing for my nipper. Obviously, I declined, But the school accidentally sent the forms, or like the instructions for the school on how to, maneuver the jab into the school. But it were obviously for the teachers. They sent it to me for some reason.
It's not a propaganda sheet.
Yeah, it's not too sinister, but it's a long thing saying how you should go about it, and then people
It's very
hesitant
sinister,
and,
Chris.
well, it is sinister.
Meant to sound like
There's even one little tiny paragraph in it that says, I was just showing it to my missus. It said, what happens if a child gets ill? And it says if the jibber jabbery team are still not there, just treat it as a normal illness. So they're actually accepting that someone could get instantly ill.
Treat it as a normal illness. What do they mean by that, though?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
As in
that
it's
means
not
it ain't
normal.
jabbery related. Yeah, that means no, or it could mean it's not related because times.
Yeah.
Just going back
It's
to
interesting.
Sorry, guy. Go on.
I was just going to say it's interesting you called it jibber jabber because that's what my wife and I call it.
Is
If
it?
someone sat in the middle lane on a motorway doing 60 with nothing around them, we always say jibber jabbered. They must be. They must be to be that disconnected from what's going on around them. They must have had one too many.
You haven't drove behind Chris.
That's a very, very true point.
Like driving Miss Daisy.
I do get accused of being a slow driver, even though I still get fucking speeding tickets.
Oh. Yeah, so you've committed a motoring offence.
Yeah.
So the first question is, who did you offend?
Yeah.
And then they send you a photograph of a stationary vehicle.
Yeah. They just paused in time.
Yeah, yeah. Where's the independent witness? And who did I offend?
No, there isn't one. Just going back to your Attenborough flying around, I see Ed Miliband's been to Brazil on his, is it COP 24 or whatever it is, COP 30?
Yeah.
And he's flying back again next week. So he's flown to Brazil and back twice in 2 weeks.
Nice. Well, but it's for good reasons, Dom. It's for reasons to save the environment.
Yeah. We need these
We
think
just fly
tanks.
for holidays. Yeah. Think tanks. We were saying off, I watched your discussion with Roger.
Yeah.
The Mud Fossil University guy. And I really like his stuff. And I sent you over, this about a week or two ago, because I'd just been to Santorini. And on Santorini, it's got a place called the Red Beach. And I kind of knew, because I've watched Roger for ages, and I kind of thought I wouldn't be interested in Red Beach. And bloody hell, it just looked like blood. And then, and also, Dom, he had because one thing that Roger goes on about is volcanoes. Does he say that like a giant's heart, doesn't it? And Santorini is a volcanic island. And guy sent it over to him, and he said it was a heart with the blood vessels and whatever coming out of it and stuff. It's fascinating. I mean, it could be, maybe it's insane. I don't know.
But when
it's
you do
fascinating.
see these things from above,
Yeah.
I mean, like the rivers do look like arteries that you see veins in a human body.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
there's no doubt about that.
He says biblically in the Bible, it says that the earth was, what is it, guy? The earth was built of titans.
Yeah.
On the corpses of titans or something like that. Dom. I can't remember exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So that's what he's talking about. And some of the stuff he's done, I mean, he'll take like a big red stone like that, Dom, smash it in half, and it'll be just jet red in the middle, like a blood vessel or a what is it? Just one cell blood.
Blood cell.
Blood cell. Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating. So, what do you think of it, guy?
Well, he's actually had stuff tested. You know, he has had things tested. Some of these rocks, and
it's got
they were living organisms, and and Yale, Johns Hopkins, and Harvard have all looked at his stuff, and they won't challenge him. They won't go there. I've had a couple of conversations with him about certain things and thought, wow, you know, this is not someone you want to get into an argument with about this stuff because he's so well researched on it.
Yeah.
He really does know what he's looking at.
Yeah.
And some of the things he's shown me, it's just blown me away.
Yeah.
Like the blood falls in Antarctica, for example. I don't know if you've seen it.
Which one's that, guy? Sorry, just run it by me. I've probably
Blood falls.
Right.
Have you seen it? It literally looks like gallons and gallons of blood just pouring down the ice into the sea.
Right, yeah.
That's incredible.
The one that got me, I think one of the first ones I saw, because it was like one morning I couldn't sleep, and I was going through, I'm like, what the hell? And it was of those statues. So it's a statue. I forget where it is. You know the one with the big beard?
Yeah.
He shows it quite a few times. But its legs, it's a statue fight. It's like sat like this.
Yeah.
Giant, right? And its legs broken. But inside the leg, obviously, if it was stone, it'd just be crumbled off. But you can see the ligaments and the bones inside it. That just blew me away. Yeah.
Petrified.
Yeah. And he shows quite a few of them where they're petrified. And say something's damaged, you can see the internal bit, which makes no sense to anybody, because if you were building a sculpture, it would be impossible to build the interior of it. So when it breaks, you see the interior. Yeah, but I love stuff like that, because it's just good to look a stage further on where something can still blow your mind a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah,
but it's a huge leap, to get there. But I'm there. But there's references throughout history
Yeah.
of people being turned to stone,
Yeah.
instant petrification.
Yeah.
There's a place I can never remember where it is, but it's in England,
Right.
and people go there to this cave. It's called something like Shipton, Old Mother Shipton's
Oh yeah,
cave.
it's in Wales, is it? Is it
I
Wales?
can't remember where it
Well, the
is.
Shipton's Cave. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
famous
people
as.
hang things there, don't they? They hang sort of stuffed toys and other
Right.
bits and pieces. They hang them inside in the cave,
Yeah.
and within a year, the thing's totally solidified.
Oh right, inside the cave.
Yeah, yeah, because of the
Stalagmites and the drip.
yeah, yeah, and as it sort of seeps through there, it kind of it's a very rapid process, and
Have they worked out why it does it in that particular cave?
just
Jack?
it's the level of whatever it is, the chemical
Is it
concentration there is.
energetic or is it actually liquid type?
It's liquid. It is liquid, but people think obviously that it's
It's in
kind of
Nesborough.
kind of got something going
I'm
on
going to
there.
say
But
Shipton's in Yorkshire.
Yeah, it's up north.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ships. Yeah. Mother Shipton's Cave in Nesborough. Harrogate Road. I thought it was up north, and then I thought it was Wales for some reason.
but there are photographs. If you go onto Google Images, you'll see people hanging things from inside, and literally they are turned to stone. They're covered. And he did one podcast about a girl that had eaten silica. She'd taken, I think she was eating shellfish, and
Right.
cracked one open, and there was a very high level of silica in it. She, glugged it back, and within an hour, she was starting to solidify from inside out.
Oh god.
And the Sun newspaper actually did a report on it, and they couldn't even with the autopsy use a scalpel. They just snapped. They had to
I
use
did.
saws, hammer, and chisel, and
Oh, she died then. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She died within an
Oh, I'd
hour.
like to
She
hope
was
so.
rock
If they did
solid.
an autopsy.
Yeah,
So it proves that it's possible.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, we just don't know. I mean, whatever did it, according to Roger, I mean, it must have been some kind of technology then, maybe or something.
yeah. Could be.
Well, the Medusa story is the one that springs to mind. Right?
Yeah, and was it Lot turning people to pillars of salt? And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there are accounts, throughout history of people being turned to stone or petrified. Why? It's like mermaids, isn't it? Why do different cultures have these same stories? And
Yeah.
old
All over the world.
cartographers,
Yeah.
yeah, they repeat the same thing.
At times when they couldn't have connected.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, even like the gods story, the gods, the Greek gods, Indian gods, Roman gods, they're all the same, and the Norse gods, they're all the same characters, just with different names, aren't they?
And the ones
Yeah.
in the Bible,
Yeah.
dare I say.
Well, Horace and Jesus are very similar.
Yeah. Don't
then-
say that, guy, because somebody will write into you, mate.
Yeah,
Tell you to Foxtrot Oscar.
yeah. And don't forget, Jesus loves you.
Yeah. Jesus loves you, and he'll forgive you.
Yeah,
The thing is, if you're a good person, or you try to be a good person, we all have his downfalls or whatever. But if you'd think trying to be a good person and not to harm anyone would be enough, wouldn't you? But that's not good enough, is it?
But it,
No.
but it isn't. It
No.
isn't really that difficult, is it? As in,
What do you
know
mean?
what I mean?
Trying
As in, you don't have to rob off anybody or take off anybody.
No, but there's some sons of bitches out there, Fi. There's some spiteful,
really?
mean, nasty bastards, isn't there? And what I mean is, shouldn't it be? Because when you think about the say the New Testament, for instance, forgiveness and love one another, is that is all you need, isn't it? And it continues the other 10 commandments, if you like.
Sounds like a Beatles song.
it does.
But
Yeah.
if you try not to do any harm to and do unto others as you do unto, isn't that enough? But that's not enough, is it? You've got to. They want more from you. You've got to go,
Again,
go to
again,
church
it's like
and tip up
don't do
some
harm
cash.
don't do harm to others unless we've made up that they've harmed you, and then we can go
Or
and
if
kill a
you
million
don't,
people in
or
Iraq.
if you don't agree with me,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
you don't agree with me, then I can tell you to go fuck yourself, guy.
yeah, yeah.
But you shouldn't try and upset or harm anyone.
Oh, you shouldn't go out your way to do it. No.
Yeah,
Just email them.
it's just not
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, email's fine. Yeah, or comment.
Yeah.
Keep commenting, and live in this sort of world where you really believe that someone isn't going to block you,
Yeah.
and
Because
that you can just keep doing it.
We released I released a podcast of the first live one we did this year in May. There were me and Chris did an hour, Mark did an hour, and then we did a chat afterwards. And somebody put a comment on saying something like cost of living crisis, and he's trying to sell books. And I'm thinking, who wrote that? why would you actually think about writing that? You haven't bought one of his books, obviously. So what does it matter to you?
Mm.
It's like
It's weird, isn't it? It's weird.
I'm on Mark Devlin's show tomorrow, actually.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
all right. Good.
Yeah. I just thought that because he emailed me about an hour ago, sending me the link. And you're quite right, But it's like I said earlier on that it should be free.
Yeah.
Books. If it's the truth, if you're sharing the truth, I keep getting told that it should be free. You
Should be
shouldn't
a pick.
charge people. And I think, well, like I was talking to Campbell Purvis from Autodidactic earlier, Tartaria, Australia, and he said to me, so does that mean then if you go to work, if you write for a living? And you're telling people what you believe to be the truth, that because you do that, you shouldn't be paid for it. So does that mean that if you go to work tomorrow and you sit there and lie all day, that they'll pay you? But if you tell the truth while you're at work, then you shouldn't be paid for that either. I mean, where do you draw the line with this? And also, if you give somebody, like the amount of people have said to me, I'd love to buy a book, but I haven't got any money. I haven't eaten for a week. I live in a shoebox behind an old railway station. Here's my address. Can you send me one for nothing, please?
Do
And
you get that guy? Do you get that?
yeah, I do. And I think the only times I've ever sent people free books is when I know that they're struggling and they haven't asked for one.
Right. Yeah, it's different, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of think that what's the perceived value of something that's been given to you for nothing?
Mm.
What's the perceived value of it? It's almost like your work and your time is worthless. I'm
Mm.
not prepared to pay for it. I want
Mm.
it, but
Yeah.
it's of no value to me. I don't have a
Mm.
perceived value in what you're doing.
It's actually an insult, isn't it?
It is insulting.
Mm.
Yeah, massively.
Mm.
And I kind of like Mark rants a bit about this stuff, doesn't he? And then he goes off about Kindle and burning books and stuff. And he's right. I do agree with him.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
not as angry as Mark.
Yeah. I get asked for sculptures. I get asked for massive discounts on my and I don't make much money on each one. They're not even expensive. But you think you definitely don't need a fucking stupid weird sculpture that I make. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
if you're
not
that skinny,
necessary
you
to
don't
your
need.
existence, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, we get it in the clinic. We run a clinic, a natural health clinic, with some nurses, me and my wife, and we get it in the clinic as well. But I'll guarantee, and me and Chris has had this conversation. I remember a few years ago. Well, it's a bit expensive, blah blah blah. All right, yeah. All right, let's do sort of an estimate of your life then. How do you live your life? What do you spend your money on? Because that's where we've got to go to make sure that you can actually qualify to get a massive discount where I give it away for free, and I still have to pay the nurses to come in, and I lose money on it. And most of them will have spare money.
Mm,
They just don't want to commit the money to anything other than
mm,
what they want to do in their normal life. That
mm,
is how it works, isn't it?
mm,
And it's just how we've been brought up. I think I call it the
Mm.
peasant mindset.
Well,
We've been entrained with this peasant mindset all our lives.
mm.
That means things are done for you, things are given to you.
I don't want to
I
insult.
don't have to work for it.
I don't want to insult anyone or anything here, but the word poverty compared to what it was even when we were kids is nothing now, is it? Compared to what it used to be. I mean, maybe I'm being really stupid, and there is loads of people starving to death in England, but it's not what it used to be even when we were little, when people had no money. I don't think.
I grew up,
But I might be wrong. I don't
witnessing
know.
severe poverty because like I said, I lived in Cambridge till I was 13 in Harston, and then we moved. My dad landed a job in Sunderland, and we moved to a coal mining colliery in the northeast of England, just south of Newcastle,
Hmm.
and it was right at the peak of the miners' strike.
I'm going to say they were starving. Well, there's some.
They were.
They went on.
They had nothing, and you had like mum stayed at home, dad went to work down the pit. The pit had shut. They hadn't earned anything for maybe a year. There were kids that had nothing, that were having to play, do PE, play football in their school shoes because they couldn't afford boots, and I witnessed that. And I had a couple of friends whose dads decided to go back to work, and they were
Scabs.
called scabs. Yeah, and they had to. They had mortgages. These particular ones weren't living in colliery houses. They had mortgages, and I saw that. I saw kids for a year or two go without anything. They went with nothing, and then Nissan opened a factory in Washington, just outside Sunderland, and a lot of them went to work there. But for a couple of years, I had kids around me. Probably half the children in the school I went to had nothing, nothing at all.
Literally nothing as well.
Yeah.
And do you know that core of resentment still runs thick through people like, say, in Barnsley and places like that, to the establishment. I've no doubt a lot of them still vote Labour in.
Yeah. Jimmy's friend.
Your Jimmy's, yeah. And in our house, our dad, I don't know about what your house was like, our dad were an actual Tory, but he was a working class Tory, which I look back now and think it's a bit strange. And our grandfather was a trade unionist at David Brown's Tractors in Huddersfield.
Oh, wow.
So you imagine Christmas dinner
Christmas
with them two
wasn't it?
fuckers arguing like shit. So we were sat in the middle of it thinking, eating his
I didn't know what was going on. If
you do, and I'm thinking, oh, do I have to listen to all this again? And my dad were a non-drinker. My granddad drunk like a fish. So he having to go at him because he were pissed as well. And it were like, oh, a nightmare at Christmas. And but the trade unionists and the business owners, again, like we're seeing now, the dynamic is that just fight each other. I'm right, no, I'm right, no, I'm right, no, I'm right. Going back to the you're controlled opposition because you have a live event, you charge people in to cover your costs type of scenario, you know? That dynamic is there. It's ingrained in us. It's like a self-managing biological AI system that's ingrained in the human race. That
to keep them fighting with each other.
Anybody who's perceived to have any form of success, slight as it might be or as big as it might be, is now the enemy.
And ultimately, you're just voting for someone different that went to Eton.
Yeah,
in a different year at Eton, weren't they?
But that can be us though. That can be aimed at us as well. As in people who start a podcast up or write a book, who all of a sudden are put out there and a few people watch them. All of a sudden now you're the enemy. It's the same principle used on us. So in reality, the controlled opposition is actually people calling you the controlled opposition.
Yes.
Which is a strange phenomenon, right? I never call anybody controlled opposition. I'm never going out my way to comment on anybody, apart from a positive nature.
We've never even discussed it off a show. About there this or there that. No, it doesn't even enter our lexicon.
Yeah.
Do you think though that when people get to a certain level, like say for example Joe Rogan, that they've been got at?
My personal opinion, and it's only my personal. I think he always was. To be fair, I just think he's like the BBC, just in a podcast environment. If I'm honest, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I think one of the prime candidates. You got to look at, say, I look at Alex Jones, and I used to watch him from the early 2000s when he started, and all the way through. And then when he did the school and got taken to court a few years ago, he's now changed. He don't call Donald Trump out, don't call him for what he's doing, don't call Israel out or anything like that for what they're doing in Gaza, or that the Zionists should say, well, it's a state in it really that's doing the or have done the bombing. He's not the same person, so I can say he has changed. I mean, if you look at your work, what you've done over the last few years, what me and Chris have done, we've not changed our attitudes towards anything. We've not changed this conversation. We've not changed tack on. Oh, well, Boris were all right, you know. He wasn't that bad of a guy, you know. And so were Rishi Sunak and Kier Starmer. He looks a lovely lad, you know.
It's going to change, yeah. No, but when Farage gets in, it'll all change.
Oh, it'll all change when Farage gets in. Yeah. but Alex Jones has changed. So the one person I know that can see that's changed, and I don't watch a lot of him, is Alex Jones.
Yeah,
because he's a pro-Trump-esque. So it looks like something's been said that says you can better carry on if you toe the line. But
yes,
that's what it looks like to me. Because now with Joe Rogan, I don't know, because sometimes I listen to him and I think, well, he doesn't offend me saying that, and I don't listen to a lot of him either. Just videos people send me. And then he has Elon Musk on or Peter Thiel, and I think, what the fuck's he doing?
I know. He's very pally with Trump, isn't it? I mean, I've seen footage of those two bumping into each other at a fight.
Yeah,
and where Rogan's commentating.
But now he's calling him out. Now he's calling it. Well, whether he is or not, whether it's just WWF. I know people who listen to this and think I like Joe Rogan. I don't really give a shit about Joe Rogan because I don't watch him. No, so I've got nothing invested in whether Joe Rogan is or isn't. I would say one thing I would say is that it's irrelevant whether he is or not as an individual, because when you get to that echelon and you've got that many viewers, something's controlling you, whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
You know,
even if
you've
it's
got to have
your
Elon. You've
paycheck.
got to have Elon on. I don't really want him on. He's going on.
Yeah, that's true. One thing I will say about him, and again, I'm not slagging him off. I don't know the guy, but he did. I remember he did a show years ago, and it was one of those conspiracy shows. And it was one of them, like we had an English version of it, and there's a few American ones actually, where they'll talk about 9/11, for instance, go through all the evidence. And I did watch some of them and fast forward them to the end, go through all the evidence, and then at the end go, yeah, this is fascinating, dun 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 dun. And then they just go, yeah, but the proof is that that conspiracy is not true. So it's like a show of nothing, you know. There's quite a few. There used to be quite a few of them. There were an English one called the Conspiracy Files or something.
He were pro jab as well, Chris. Not the
Was it
2020 stuff, but previously he's had
Was
people on. He wouldn't even entertain the conversation about any of that. Now he will. Now he says it's all nonsense.
Right.
So he has changed. I mean, my mate Crabclaws, Jacko sent me stuff over of him actually saying now he realizes it's all nonsense and he's being had. Now, whether any of that's true or not, I don't know. You can only go on what he's saying, can't you? But then he has Elon Musk on.
Yeah.
And then you have to question if he didn't have any of them people on, or if he came out and said, I'm not having any of these people on ever again because they're part of the New World Order and I'm not going to, then we'd see how much control he actually had, wouldn't we?
But you always have to, you also have to think of the long game. If you think like a guy was on about David Attenborough, right? I mean, how did he go from pure wildlife films of a leopard attacking a gazelle, and everyone going ooh, or a shark?
What's that with that gorilla?
Yeah, all that shit. And he went from that, and now it's all environmental global warming. Was that planned from the beginning? That's what I mean. Was that the end game of David Attenborough being this guy? Because he's just a guy, really, and he talks. He didn't do anything else. He's a presenter, isn't he?
You've got two brothers. One becomes
film director.
Film directors in the history of film, British film anyway.
Makes Gandhi's flip-flop.
He makes Gandhi's flip-flop. And the other one is the sort of like nature's biggest name.
What's the chances of that?
Well, you got that with the Flemings as well, haven't you? Because you've got Ian Fleming, who did James Bond, and then Peter Fleming. He wrote My Travels in Tartary. He wrote about Tartaria. So he was writing books. They're both connected to MI5, MI6. Very strange, isn't it? When you've got brothers that both end up
Peter
in
Fleming,
the establishment.
One of the guys that worked for him was a guy called Sir Charles Cornelius Wheeler. And Sir Charles Cornelius, this was in World War II. He became a producer of Panorama, one of the first producers of Panorama for the BBC. He worked for the Foreign Office. He just happened to be at most of the massive incidents as the international BBC foreign correspondent, JFK's assassination, I think, and all these things. He just happened to be there, but he were an intelligence operative. And he is the father, or was the father, of Marina Wheeler, who was Boris Johnson's wife prior to Carrie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Marina Wheeler now is working for Kier Starmer in his government. Yeah. And she was married to Boris Johnson and has got 4 kids with him.
Bloody hell.
Didn't see that in newspaper, did we?
No, didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a story as well, that, isn't it? That is a proper story for it.
Well, Carrie Simmons has got probably a better one in a way, because her mother, Anne Simmons, was in the, let me get this right, I think it was the
Anne Summers, lingerie.
Anne Simmons.
Wow, she's the lingerie empire.
Yeah. Anne Simmons, sorry, not Anne Summers. Talking of double enders, weren't we?
We were, yeah.
I mean, EastEnders, sorry. Anne Simmons worked for the Ministry of Information with Dennis Healy. They were all best friends, Dennis Healy. And I'm trying to get the name now. Oh, I forgot his name. The guy that I will remember his name. The guy that I'm going to, I can't remember his name. He worked for the Information Research Department. They all went to Cambridge together. And that's Carrie Simmons's grandmother. Sorry, not mother. And he was the guy that on Panorama, while Marina Wheeler's dad was running it, did the LSD experiment.
Ah, right, yeah.
So he was
that's what we watched recently.
MI6 agent, etc., who did the anyway.
And Panorama, when you think, was the bastion of real news for
used to terrify me as a kid.
Decades, wasn't it? Decades.
Yeah. So all of them, going back to the Flemings as well. The Flemings, I mean, yeah, they were There's an interesting story actually. We told this actually to Mike Williams the other day. Yeah, I told it to Mike Williams. So Ian Fleming was a bit of a David Niveney type character. You know, a cigarette holder and liked the ladies and drank a lot. When he was at Oxford. Anyway, when he was finishing Oxford, his mother were a bit worried about him. So she wanted him to go in the Foreign Office. And before he went there, she sent him to a private clinic in Austria, run by a guy called, I've forgotten his name as well now, I'm going to have to dig it out, Anna. Run by ex-head of station or future head of station MI6 agent, and another lady that followed Albert Adlin. Anyway, he was a psychologist who was apparently as prominent as Jung and Freud. So these three were the three, and they followed. It were called the Alderian methods or whatever. And so he was put through this clinic. It was like an MK Ultra type mind control clinic. So we did a full podcast on that as well. One of the things. So that was Ian and the Flemings owned Fleming Bank that was sold for $7 billion in 2000 to Chase Manhattan. So the Fleming family owned Fleming and Sons Bank, an international bank. So they were there with the Rothschilds and all the other people in the 19th century building these banks up for international. They ran like I think they were based more in Hong Kong. So Fleming, he weren't just a writer who came up with James Bond anyway. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. There's always a strange story behind these people. Always, isn't there? Once you start digging, it's like Musk, isn't it? When you sort of dig into him, and when he first appeared on the scene, everybody thought that he'd basically started Tesla from nothing and came from nothing, and they're always a garage company, aren't they? They always start off in the garage, and then you look at him and look at his mum and do a bit of digging into his dad, and you think, it's the same old story with all of these people.
Well, as soon as you realise that his dad owned a frigging emerald mine, right? And the story behind the emerald mine is, well, I was going to buy a plane, and I had to land in Kenya, and I landed there, I think it was Kenya, by accident, to refuel. And when I got out, this guy said, you might want to look at this emerald mine that's for sale. And he bought an emerald mine. I mean, if anybody wants to believe that, that's just absolute. So from going to buy a plane to buying an emerald mine, I mean...
And emeralds are actually a precious stone, unlike diamonds, aren't they?
Yeah, well, again...
There's an abundance of diamonds. There's not an abundance of emeralds.
So, yeah, anyway, I need to... It would do me head in this, Chris, sorry. The guy who Fleming went to his clinic was called Alban Ernan Forbes Dennis. He's a diplomat, MI6 head of station for Austria, Hungary, and Yugoslavia. And his wife was called Phyllis Bottom. And there's lots of newspaper stories around saying, in fact, one of the stories said something like the unlikely inspiration for James Bond. And it has a picture at the side of Roger Moore.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
On a Lotus.
Yeah.
And Peter Fleming, when he died, he was buried in this small church on their estate. Yeah. And the glass, he had this ceremonial glass windows representing the tree of life with owls on it and all sorts of stuff. I don't have to tell you what all that shit means. But when you see all this stained glass, I mean, who has stuff like that made of them?
Yeah.
Well, as a church on their own estate.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
God knows what goes on under that one.
Yeah, probably, quite literally.
Yeah. So I reckon do the black masses underneath the real churches, don't they?
Yeah.
So how old were you two when you started looking into conspiracies? And was it together? Did you both do this together?
We always get asked this, don't we, Dom? It's quite funny.
I suppose not many brothers into the... I mean, with Jamie and Gareth Ike, it's a bit easy. How did you get into that, innit?
Yeah.
Let me think now. Well, it was guy who sold ice cream down the road, and he told us about 9/11. Yeah, no. Go on, Chris, you start.
Well, basically, this is how I see it. We lived on a farm. We had a bedroom each, and I had books on ghosts, aliens, monsters, strange happenings, things like that. I even, and we're talking about, I forgot about this, Dom. I even had a tarot deck when I was a blooming. My mum bought it me. And I remember because it said in the instruction with a little booklet, on how to do it. I remember doing it to my mate, and it said there, you had to keep them in some silk. And I remember trying to find some silk to wrap it in. And I ended up finding some handkerchief and keeping it in a drawer. I didn't know what I was doing with it.
I
But
remember you having them.
Remember them.
Yeah.
So I had shit like that. And, you know, I were into all that kind of... And even though I was petrified at dark, I was terrified at dark.
I never used to wind you up about that.
No, you never did.
Especially in an old farmhouse that all floors creaked.
It makes me wonder now, was there something... Because I used to have this feeling that there was something in my room all the time. I mean, I could tell you some more stories about that. But then Dom's bedroom, he had all war books and JFK books and all that kind of thing. But and then we never thought. I don't think that we even knew what the word conspiracy. I mean, I was doing selling sculptures at alien conventions when I was like 20, and I used to advertise in 14 Times magazine. Yeah, a little. You know, I mean, the early days because I used to make sculptures. The early days before the internet, so we're in the 90s, and I'd put an advert in there saying, "Send me a stamped addressed envelope, and I'll send you a brochure, and an order form." Then they'd fill in the order form, send me that with a check. The whole process took about a month to earn about 20 quid. But yeah, so
you obviously controlled demolition, controlled opposition. Flip on the tongue there, Chris. You obviously controlled opposition by having to post stuff out not for free.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Good luck at yourself, Chris.
But there was something nice about that though as well, because I get a letter and stuff, you know, and I'd have them all on you. I had a little shed on my dad's house, and I'd make my sculptures in there, which is what I'm doing now. But I started doing it when I was like 19, 20. But we were, as far, the more I think about it, because me and Dom, when people ask us, we'll go, oh, maybe 20. And I'm thinking, no, we're going back to when we were bloody 16, 17. I'm not saying we were fully on board, by the way. I didn't think the government wanted to kill me at that point, but I knew there was lies involved, if you know what I mean. What's your version of that, Dom?
Well, my version is very similar to that. I mean, I was about 17, 18 when I started reading about JFK. And I stumbled on it by chance. I was a night next door to behind our little small holding was a hotel, and my mum worked there as a waitress. I worked there as a night porter, stroke washer up, bottle washer. Chris worked there as well, car park attendant, right? All big hitting jobs, obviously. And late at night, there were nobody in the hotel. It was a quiet little village, so you put TV on, and it would. When they just started doing late night TV in the like 86 type year. And I remember watching on Channel 4, there was like a reenactment of what the trial would have been if Lee Harvey Oswald would have lived. And they sort of went through the process of trying him in court type of thing. And I were transfixed, and I thought, right, how do I find any books? And at that time in Huddersfield, there were a bookshop called Greenhead Books, if you remember, Chris.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. I went down there, and there were all these books, but you'd class them as conspiracy books now. They're all JFK conspiracy books, you know, Jim Mars and things like this in there. Even Garrison's book and stuff like that. The one that Stone did based some of his film on, not all of it. Jim Garrison's book, and I started reading them. So you're talking late 80s. 88, 89, around then when them books, I think Mars's book were about 89, I think it came out, or 88 on the trail.
Did you have Mars's book then, Fire?
Yeah, on the Trail of the Assassins. Yeah. I did it around that time. And then when the film came out, I got into it again.
Yeah.
And
we went to watch it. I remember going to watch it.
Yeah, I went to watch it several times. Yeah. But obviously you didn't know Hollywood either then. You just thought people had the chance to write the truth if they wanted to, you know.
Yeah.
And then we've just done actually a 2-hour show with Mike Williams on Sage Quay about the Doors, haven't we, Chris?
Yeah, we got talking about Oliver Stone.
Yeah. So I did a bit of digging on him, and his father was a colonel. He was Eisenhower's. He was a colonel in Eisenhower's private, whatever what you call is. He was the financial officer for Eisenhower basically in World War II. So he would have been privy to a lot of shit. Anyway, so that was Oliver Stone's dad. He was called Silverstein. They changed the name to Stone.
Right. And that was about the Doors you were talking about.
That was about the Doors, yeah.
Yeah, with Jim Morrison's dad obviously being military as well. And
well, I mean, the rundown on Jim Morrison's genealogy is fascinating, and Val Kilmer's. The sort of
Val Kilmer
interrelated. Val Kilmer and Jim Morrison, really far back, not necessarily. And Jim Morrison's, I did Jim Morrison's genealogy about 3 years ago when we did an initial show me and Chris did on his own, and but I've gone into more detail on it now, and there's a lot of links back to a lot of the hippie movement, movers and shakers within Laurel Canyon at the time. So when Dave McGowan did that initial work, so Jim Morrison's, let me get this right, Jim Morrison's grandma's brother, so that'd be his great uncle. He was even higher up the food chain in the Navy than Jim Morrison's dad. He was a full-blown admiral. Both him and his wife were buried with military honours at Arlington. So there's more to it than just the guy at the Gulf of Tonkin.
Yeah.
And also, I did John Densmore as well. John Densmore's family, he goes back, I think it's ancient Welsh kings he goes back to, John Densmore. But also, his family intersect with Salem. So some of his ancestors got burnt at the stake.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, I found a ancestor called Mather, and I traced it back to Eminem. So the guy, that particular guy, and it's going to be in probably part 2 of this one we could do with Mike next year. That particular guy, he passed the law to burn witches at the stake in Salem. That was Eminem's great grandfather. I forget how many times.
Is it really?
Yeah, he passed the law. And the weird thing is that Eminem, in one of his songs, calls the caravan park Salem's Lot.
Yes, yes.
So I wonder if he knew, or there's some sort of genetic bloody program running through him that's why he called it Salem's Lot.
Or if it's the same person reincarnated.
Or if it's the same person revolved round. Yes.
Yeah.
Just called different names.
Photos of him there are photographs of him. If you go onto Google and put Eminem doppelganger, you can see it comes up with
spitting the same person out over and over again.
Yeah,
it's fascinating stuff. I find it fascinating. Like your guest who finds, we were talking about earlier. I find this side of it fascinating. Where
there's a point where Eminem changed, wasn't he? He had blue eyes and blonde hair, and he went from that to black eyes and black hair, and he's fit. He just looked like a different guy.
Doesn't look like the same person, no. No, a bit like David Beckham. If you have a look at David Beckham now, and the best
like
example.
Daniel LaRue.
Well, there's a photograph. If you look online of him with Prince William donating they're at the donation of a bright red helicopter, an air ambulance that's been sponsored by the London Freemasons. David Beckham stood in front of that.
Just by chance, that guy.
Absolutely, yeah. Interesting, isn't it? That I know, a helicopter. That's quite a big deal. It's a lot of money. But strange to have David Beckham and Prince William there doing the PR for it. I don't. Why them?
He didn't start the helicopter up, did they? Because it might have blown his wig off.
Do you know what? He's had an air transplant, hasn't he? But if you look at the photograph of David Beckham stood with William at with this red helicopter, and then think of Burt Reynolds, a young Burt Reynolds,
right?
That it looks more like him than David Beckham. David Beckham, it doesn't even look like David Beckham. You've got to have a look.
I think a lot of these. They're having a lot of people, though. Well, a lot of these famous guys, especially Beckham, he's obviously got some kind of, I won't call it vanity, psychological issue. I know he's got OCDs, and he's got terrible OCDs apparently.
Or he was used to publicise OCDs before they existed.
Well, or there's that as well. Everyone seems to follow him, or he was made to have OCDs to publicise the OCD.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. No one had heard of it. No one had heard of it till he got it.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, everyone kept saying, "I'm OCD, I'm OCD." I remember working in kitchens. This woman saying to the girl, "Say, yeah, I'm terrible, mate. I've got OCD." I said, "Why don't you clean that fucking microwave out then? Because it's right shit off."
Clean it out 25 times, please. The next 10 minutes.
I wish you did have OCD, you useless bastard.
Look at Beckham now. I mean, he stood on the World Economic Forum stage
several times.
I mean, why? I mean, this is not somebody that is likely to be recommended to become a, member of Mensa. He's not going to get an honorary degree at Cambridge or Oxford. Why roll him out? We know why. Because he's in the public eye. People, youngsters especially, kind of aspire to him. So getting him on the World Economic Forum stage.
The strange thing is, though, in football, when I used to watch football, I mean, at the time when he were playing at the peak of his thing, probably did want to. Your kids want it to be Beckham, but nobody now. I ever hear anybody saying like my young'un or I want to be David Beckham. They might say Ronaldo or Messi or people like that, but they won't say David Beckham. What I'm trying to say is he weren't. He would obviously. It's like the worship of mediocrity is what I'm trying to get at. His wife can't sing,
Yes.
right? He wasn't the best player, but he was, in my opinion, I used to follow Man United, and he wasn't the best player. He could cross the ball and shoot, and he was very good at that. But other than that, I didn't find him that good. But who am I to fucking question him, right?
But he became more famous for marrying.
He became more
Spice,
famous for fashion and marrying posh Spice.
Yeah. Celebrity couple.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I mean, for me, when football growing up, I mean, well, originally it was people like Kenny Dalglish for me, and then as I got older, probably Eric Cantona was someone that I found more entertaining to watch than
Roy
anyone.
Keane.
Yeah, Roy Keane.
The thing is, if you think about it, right, I would say David Beckham pushed the feminization of men.
Metrosexual,
movement. Because up to that point there, exactly, having his hair done or whatever. Obviously, I'm taking piss because I'm bald, but up to 2000, right, you had the likes of Cantona, Roy Keane, Tony Adams, people like that, who you class as old-fashioned bloke types. After that, it were all what they looked like, what they did outside football, that they were more interesting.
And that was that period of time, wasn't it, where the metrosexual word started getting bandied around. I would say. Yeah, I think you're right there, Fire. Yeah. Obviously, my knowledge of football.
And I'm not just saying him on his own. I'm just using him as an example. But the male icons were definitely feminized around that time, whether it were singers or. I mean, look at the male icons now. The ginger-haired guy. These are the male icons that we're meant to look up to. In the 60s, it were drug-taking lizard lovers. Now it's some guy who's suffering from some kind of I don't know, breakdown.
Yeah, you're quite right. Yeah.
It's well that's what's been put, or that's the nature of society as well. That's what they want society to behave like. Is depressive.
Yeah.
Subdued. Weak.
I was looking at a thing the other day. Do you remember it on our?
Everyone's going to fight, Chris. It's like that guy, right? I usually make a laugh about this, but it's like the guy who said we controlled opposition. A few years ago, people would have what they call it a straightener. They'd say, right, let's meet up in park. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you've got a problem with me, let's meet up. But now you've got social media people who will just put a comment on, and they'd never meet up.
The keyboard warrior.
Yeah, I remember once, right, listening to a boxer, I forget who it were now. Somebody must have been giving him a load of shit in his family online, and he found out where he lived. Tapped on his door. He said, this guy absolutely... He said, we're never going to hit him. He said, obviously. He said, but I just thought I'd let him know. And he tapped on his door. This guy shit himself. But anyway.
That's funny. I was telling you earlier on that I grew up, from 13, I grew up in the northeast. Easington Colliery is the place where I lived. And my best mate was a bloke called Tony Baker. And Tony Baker was a boxer. So from early teens, he started to box, and he became really good, really, really good. And he boxed into his 30s. He was still boxing, and earning money from it at this point. Semi-professional. He's earning a few quid here and there, and no one had ever knocked him out. No one. Big lad as well. Anyway, he bought a pub in the Colliery in Easington. And one night, some lads that had been messing around in the pub that he'd kicked out came back. It's about midnight. And he sees them on the CCTV. They pull up in this car. There's about 5 of them get out. And they say, right, and they're trying to kick the door in. And he comes out the door. And one by one, he knocks them all out, unconscious, stone cold. Bang, out. No, they didn't even get a hit on him. And the police come and so on, and they play the footage back, and they say, well, what can we do with this? Because there's 5 against 1. They're trying to break into your pub. You've knocked them all out. I don't think they're going to want this to go any
No,
further.
they won't want to press charges, will
Yeah,
they?
yeah, we're just going to have to leave it there. And I thought, fuck me, his pub, all of his trophies and cups and everything were in the pub. And I thought, and he's a
Idiots.
big lad.
Idiots.
Yeah.
What is going
Idiots.
through your mind when
Yeah.
you decide to challenge someone who knocks people out for money?
I remember this lad who used to
He's
play
at very least going to get 3 of them, isn't he?
Yeah.
I remember this lad who used to play rugby locally from Fiji, I think he was. Like he had his whole family were just like warriors, right? You could, that old style Fijian,
Mm.
And he must have been watching a football match down Huddersfield Town or rugby league match, and he went into the toilets outside a pub. There must have been still. You're talking 15, 20 years ago. These 2 guys came in to mug him. And he got one, did him. This was in the toilet while I was having a slash. Did one of them, right? So he'd already done one of them. Other one didn't run off, and he ran after him and caught him. I mean, I always think, why would he pick on him? Of anybody you're going to pick on, right? Why would he pick on him? In fact, I'd tell you a good story about Mark's son, Mark Majerski's son. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu and a professional kickboxer. All right. He owns a gym in Halifax, and this guy was giving him a load of shit outside. He obviously didn't know who we were, and he ain't a violent guy. That he's trained. He's a black belt. He's a master. And he said, "Oh, if you want, you can come to the gym and blah blah." And he went, "Oh, you Nico?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "No, you're all right, mate." So he didn't take it any further. He said my training actually stopped me fighting. So it actually worked the opposite way around, because people knew who I was. They didn't want to fight me. So he didn't have to be violent to
most martial artists and boxers and stuff, they don't want to fight.
Like Master Lee. He's the same. He's the nicest person you'll ever meet. The guy that we know, 6'2" or whatever, heavyweight, bloody mixed martial arts. Why are you going to take a lunatic like that on?
But do you think that the first person to want to throw a punch is probably the least intelligent?
More than likely, yeah.
My dad used to say to me when I first started drinking and going to clubs and I was going into London and stuff, he said to me, it's not the people that are covered in the scars that are giving it all that you want to be wary of. It's the one who's sat there when it all kicks off and doesn't raise an eyebrow. That's the one you want to worry about. Because there are some people that are just
mouth off.
Absolutely, yeah, they're really intense, and kind of. And I think they're the complete reverse of the keyboard warrior that we get now.
And that's what I'm trying to say. They're the type of person that we're talking about, aren't they? The keyboard warrior, that is brave as hell. And you can't. The thing is, right? I don't know if you've noticed this guy. You can't have a relevant conversation with a lot of people now. I was having I lost it with one of my neighbours the other day. He's got 2 dogs, and one of them he leaves outside and it barks all day, right? You go empty your bin, jumps on the wall barking at you, and he put up with it. And I sent him a text just for about 6 months ago, and he sent me this long text back about
I hate that.
Neighbours this and neighbours make noise and all that type of carry on. Not getting it, and he's a lawyer. It was like a legal letter he sent me back. It was like, and I'm thinking, for fuck's sake, why can't you just say apologies, Dom? I'll make sure it's quiet. No worries, that's it. It's end of. I didn't even text him back. I thought, I can't be asked. I deleted his number. I thought, I'm not even going to contact the guy again. Anyway, I went to the bin. This dog jumps up back. I'm not scared of dogs. Don't bother me, right? But it had bitten one of the guys round, one of the neighbours by us. And I said to my wife, one day he's going to catch me on the wrong day, and I'm going to give him both barrels. But I tried talking to him. I said, don't you think it's out of order? It's barking constantly. And what I'm trying to get at, I was having a conversation with someone who just didn't get. He said, well, when you're doing your garden, lawnmowers on and stuff, that's noisy. I'm thinking, what the fuck's that got to do with a dog barking all day? But you can't even get past that screensaver to actually have a conversation with him. And I thought, I'm going to actually lose it here to be this guy, because I had to go because I know Chris is getting angry now thinking about it. But
they call knuckleheads on fire.
What I'm trying to get at is I'm meeting more and more of these people. My neighbour across the other side, he's had some work done on his gate, and he said he was chuntering to himself. Want to get hose pipe out, and so he got his hose pipe out. Just going to start hose piping rubbish away from builders, and the neighbours came up and said, you can't do that. There's an hose pipe ban. And he said, well, we're surrounded by fucking water. We live in the UK, blah, blah.
You know, got one of the heaviest rainfalls in the country up there.
Exactly. and basically they were going to grass him up. So you can't even have that conversation.
No.
We're living in a fucking weird world at the moment.
Yeah.
Where I remember coming to Cambridge to see Chris at the height of the nonsense in 2020.
Mm.
And I was going to get in a cab. And she got to wear a mask. I started wearing a mask because I'm not taking her. And I thought, fucking hell, what have we become?
Yeah.
I'm there with my missus, 2 kids, and he wouldn't even let us get in car.
Yeah, it's pathetic, isn't it?
He was probably terrified, to be fair to him.
I'm not saying he wasn't terrified.
He'd been propagandised, isn't it?
Obviously, I didn't say it to him, Chris.
But that was a good example, wasn't it? That was 2020 was a good example. And some people say, and I'm not including everybody in this, because there were people that were put in a position where they had no option other than to take the jabs. They were going to lose their jobs, or they couldn't travel and needed to. And I accept that. But the ones who didn't need, there were no restrictions going on. They weren't going to lose their job. They weren't getting issues at work or being ostracized or anything at all, that rolled up their sleeves and took them. Was it an intelligence test? If you're prepared to roll up your sleeve and take something, not because you're forced or backed into a corner or put in an awkward position, if you're willing to roll up your sleeve and take something that you know is a trial, that has only just come out, and you don't even know anyone that's had.
Even that conversation, though, guy, telling people it were a trial, even that one met with madness. Even people, well, they wouldn't release it if it wasn't safe. They wouldn't.
All the answers were there.
Yeah, because that's obviously, yeah. I mean, I went to school with a couple of kids that mums had thalidomide, the morning sickness drug. You know, there is history of them doing things. I mean, you know,
they still haven't been paid out. Most of them thalidomide injuries still haven't been paid out today.
Unbelievable, isn't it? It's just disgusting.
Who was it now that me and Mark found out that Judge Jules's grandfather?
Yeah, that's right.
They brought the drug in, the thalidomide drug in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, Judge Jules. He was Rick Stein's father, the chef. So Judge Jules is Rick Stein's nephew. Yeah, did all his genealogy as well. Even Judge Jules. Yeah. So and he from the stress of all that jumped off a cliff. I think it were in Cornwall or somewhere down there. Did the grandfather? He worked for, was it Allied Distilleries or something? Anyway, it was a big company. It was I think it was an alcohol company that had pharmaceuticals attached to it as well. And he worked for the pharmaceutical side of it, and they were the ones that had the agreement to sell thalidomide in the UK.
What year was thalidomide?
I think it was either early 60s or late 50s, and it went on for a few years, I think, didn't it?
Yeah,
just for morning
carried on until late 60s, didn't it?
Yeah,
it
morning sickness. 60s? I can't remember. I'll look it up now.
Just for morning sickness as well.
Yeah, yeah. And there are examples of this happening. You know, forever. This has been going on.
The whole jib jab history is.
I mean, look at the Gates Foundation. They've been kicked out of quite a few countries now for for what the damage that they've caused.
So thalidomide were first marketed in 1957 in West Germany. So it was sold from 1957 basically. So the late 50s. I haven't got a date here when it was stopped or brought into the UK.
But like we were just talking about the flu thing that they're dishing out to kids now at school, which is a spray up the nose. People, you have to realise that someone's making money out of that. Oh no, it's free. It's not free, is it? We're paying for it. For you to spray something up someone's nose, this kid's nose, straight into the brain. So, but it gives that illusion that it's better than an injection. But
I mean, they were getting £35 a pop, weren't they, for giving the COVID jabs. I'm sure it was £35
it
a
rings a
go.
bell. Yeah.
Mm.
So someone's making brass out of it, and God knows what they're spraying into your kid's
Yeah.
head.
And right at that, when that came out, when that first happened, we're all wandering round thinking, what? Someone ate a bat in a wet fish market. And then we're thinking, well, this is bullshit. It's got to be the testing, medical testing centre that just happens to be there.
I was listening to Brett Weinstein today, and don't listen to Brett Weinstein. It was I forget who sent it me now. Anyway, somebody sent it me, and they had like a first responder for children, I think it was, so any children, and he was saying that pre the jab rollouts, he'd never seen myocarditis in children or a child having a stroke, but Brett Weinstein, he said to him, well, look, when in 2020, when COVID was rife, he's saying, and so he's still under the, I call it illusion, that there was actually something, just like Nurse Gladys, John Campbell, they're still selling the illusion that what we were told.
Is that what you call him, Nurse Gladys?
Yeah. He's actually the only one that I actually speak about, Nurse Gladys, because he fucking wound me up in 2020 when he was telling everybody to get 2021 when he was telling everybody to get jabbed.
And then changed his mind.
Changed his mind, which is fair enough. Everyone can change their mind, but I've not heard a good explanation that he's changed. But he's still 2 weeks ago he released a video. Somebody sent me saying he got COVID. So he's still selling.
So he's still testing. He's still testing.
He's still testing.
Which is the biggest part of the whole shenanigans.
The whole scam
was the test, wasn't it?
The test.
Believing the test.
Believing the test was real. Now, Brett Weinstein's meant to be an intelligent guy, and he's now realizing that I think he realized pretty early on that the jabs weren't good. But
he's still selling the story.
He's still selling the story that testing and all this that type of test is right to pick an imaginary virus up from a bat in fucking Wuhan.
What you find with I don't know what he talks about, but what you find with those kind of folk is they want you, the belief they want you to have is that it was all ineptness and a bit of greed and a bit of this and that. Not that they're trying to kill you. That's the trouble. They're not willing to go over that fence. They still believe it was just an inept government that behaved badly at the time and didn't deal with it right. That's why they have these.
Well, Chris, I mean, if you think about, I'll use David Attenborough as an example. So his father comes up with the first eugenics organization. Then his son is pushing global climate warming change for the last 25 years. That's probably going to end society as we know it if it's allowed to carry on, because it will. And these are the people that are pushing these things, aren't there? It's like there's a team of them pushing it. Whether it's his brother making films, I've never looked at all his films, but I'm sure he were pushing something in his films. If you looked back,
selling Gander,
yeah,
the Gandhi story, if that's real, I don't know.
But anyway,
as we know,
when you come across these people, they're obviously pushing the narrative for selling jabs. Mick Jagger was selling jabs. All of these people, and Brett Weinstein is still. I won't say again, people call him controlled opposition. I just think they can't move past that point that Chris has just mentioned, that your government, that it's a planned operation from start to finish to reduce the population of the world, whether it's through sterilization. I actually think knocking people off with a jab is the least of the problem. I agree. The least of the problem. The ramifications of that and the technology that's all around us, the EMFs that are floating around at this moment in time, I think those are one of the biggest issues we've got going on.
And of course, that there is the potential. A lot of people believe this, and I do, that's what is in the nanobots. The particles inside the vaccination are reacting with 5G masks and so on, that there is something there, that it was, because if you think about the pandemic, the first thing they did was actually install 5G masks everywhere.
Massive masks. I mean, there were masks everywhere to start with, right?
It didn't look like that though, did they?
No, these things turned up, and they reminded me of Triffids or War of the Worlds just popping out on the ground from nowhere.
Big sinister looking fucking things.
Yeah, it's like they were already there, and they pressed the button, they went.
And you stand near one, and I was saying this for years afterwards, even up when I was still tattooing and sort of middle of last year, really. I'd say to people, if they mentioned their phone or mentioned at any point they mentioned 5G, I would say to them, how often do you get a 5G signal?
Yeah.
Have you not realised yet that, 4 years, 5 years on, that you still don't get a 5G signal very often? Yet these masts are everywhere. Have you not questioned that? And why did the government want us to have better internet connectivity if we've got to
Yes.
work from home? If you were able to work from home during the pandemic, you've already had broadband.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
everything was running fine, wasn't it?
yeah, it wasn't like the bin man was going to, remote work.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So
But
what?
when you think, guys, evil, I'm saying evil genius. So you had 2G, 3G, 4G, and then they call it 5G, but it's just something else. It's nothing
Mm,
to do with any G. It's just something else. It's
mm,
a new thing that they've just stuck up, or a
Well, I don't know if you
weapon,
know
or
this guy.
whatever.
mm,
I'm from a telecoms background, so my businesses in the early '90s were telecoms, and 5G. The jump from 4G to 5G, whatever it's being used for, because like you say, you don't. I mean, I don't have a 5G phone, so I don't see it. But um, people don't use 5G that much, and so what's it actually being used for?
mm,
And the difference in speed would be like having from 4G to 5G would be like having a moped and a fighter jet.
mm.
That's the difference in speed. We don't see that difference in speed on as computers or
No.
as phone.
No, but I did what, like you, that, when I got my last phone, the first thing I did was turned
Turn it
off the
all off. Yeah,
5G. Yeah,
yeah,
turn off the 5G, turn off the public announcement service.
yes.
Yeah, turn it all off. And I know a couple of people that when they go to bed, they turn the router off
Mm.
and they put their mobile phone in the microwave. They've
Well,
got a little Faraday cage.
I went through the process of having my house cabled, so I don't use Wi-Fi in the house. No Wi-Fi in the house for us. Um, just obviously Wi-Fi is easy. That's how they get you, don't they? They get you with
Mm,
it being um, it's damn sight easy carrying an iPad around and just pressing it and you can sit anywhere you want, but you're
mm,
getting fried. I remember turning the router off in the old house, turning Wi-Fi off when I realised what it were doing. It's going back when it first came out, really Wi-Fi, um, and it's like the house went quiet. It was
mm.
strange. Um, you could sort of sense it. And I've got to say, Lyme disease did make me quite electrosensitive as well at that particular point. So,
Oh, right.
so a lot of people with Lyme, and a lot of people will be screaming at telly, there's no such thing as Lyme because viruses and bacteria don't harm you. Well, whatever it is, right? I'll call it Lyme. It makes you chemically sensitive. So the smells of chemicals
Mm.
used to make me feel sick. Um, electrosensitive as well. Don't get that
Do
as
you know
much
how you
now.
contracted that?
I reckon through vaccines
Mm,
when I was younger. I've looked at my well, we were brought up on a sheep farm, so I could have been bitten by a tick. I've seen people will say ticks don't harm you because the bacteria and parasite doesn't harm you. I say bollocks because I've seen people who've been bitten and absolutely goosed a week later. I'm
mm,
on about bedridden. Yeah, so I know people like that. So something attacks them, and I'd say it's more of a biowarfare weapon than
mm.
just the bacteria.
Yeah.
But also it's not a bacteria, isn't Lyme. Borrelia is a parasite, so it's slightly different. But anyway, so the answer to that is no. I don't know exactly how. I just know I start feeling ill around about the 2006 mark.
Right.
Um, so yeah, but that's when it start. It's like one day you're here, next day you're not, or you're not here.
Yeah.
So it was a bit trippy as well at times. But
Bloody hell.
yeah.
How long were you out for?
Well, it's a weird thing is Lyme, as people with Lyme, everybody's different who has it. Some people are worse than me. Some people have got it lighter than me, but it affects you in different ways at different times.
Mm,
So some weeks you might not have that many symptoms or months, then it'll come back and hit you. I can only, from what I've heard about malaria or something like that, I can only say it sounds similar to malaria where people will be all right
mm.
for a while and then it'll hit them.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like that. But yeah. Anyway, well, I forgot where I was now. So electrosensitivity.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could sense that it had changed.
Mm,
And I had a guy come round the house. He stopped doing it now, which it was very handy. He had all the EMF testers, but the proper
mm.
what they'd use in the government, if you like, not just the things you can buy online. Thousands of pounds they cost him. And he came around and tested the house we're off the charts when I had it on. But then when I turned it off, it was like an EMF free zone. So, I fitted dirty electricity meters on the plugs.
Right.
So in an house, obviously, you're surrounded by dirty electricity in the wires. So when you turn the socket off, there's still electricity in the wire. Yeah. So what I found were some filters that you could buy that plug into these were called Stetzner filters, but I'm sure this were like 15 years ago, but I'm sure there's other ones now that are out there. And these filters, you put them in each room in the house, and it draws out the dirty electricity in the wires. So there's no currents you're not surrounded by them. And it also filters out when they're on as well.
Yeah.
And you've got a meter so you can test them. And anything above, I think it's 15 hertz, it starts altering cells. Anything above, blah, all these things over time. I'm not saying instantly, but so I got into that side of it as well about 15 years ago. Yeah, and then you get into water, don't you, and get filters in your house for water.
Yeah.
But obviously at the time people thought I were mad, and now people are asking me where I get them from.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even my neighbours and things like that. Do you filter your water? I seem to remember you saying you filter your water. Or do you use Wi-Fi? All of a sudden now they're asking.
I had a delivery driver a couple of months ago. Pulled up and it was a really lovely day. And he looked at me and he said, "At least the sun's shining and I finished work in a couple of hours." I said, "Well, enjoy it because it's going to rain tomorrow." And he said, "How do you know that? It's a beautiful day." I said, "They're chemtrailing again." He said, "You don't believe in all that, do you?" And I said, "What? You are aware that the government announced recently that they are doing it?" And he said, "Well, I didn't know that." And I said, "And that even people at the UN have been arguing about this. This has been going on for a very, very long time. And condensation trails last 20, 30 seconds at the most. They will be up there all day. They'll slowly expand. They'll become cloud. What do you think? You think that is condensation? You think those flight paths just happen to look like a fucking chessboard, do you? I mean, what's going on?" And as he drove off, you could sort of see him shaking his head and thinking, "Oh man, that man wears a tinfoil hat." And I thought maybe I should wear a tinfoil hat. Then it might shield me from people like you, and I won't actually pick up on your stupidity. And then I realised that actually, it may be the programming is so good, and that's why there aren't that many of us.
It might be just a little bit too early for him as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Something I've noticed in people that, and Chris will have had that, and you'll have had this, no doubt, Guy, as well, that 10 years ago he said something to someone, and then they'll come up to you and go, you had it a few months ago with that guy who said you were right. You were, I forget who it was now.
Was that about COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a mate of mine. He knew I was before COVID, obviously. He knew my theories because we used to work together. And bumped into him in the street. And he's a right mouthy bastard as well. He went, "You happy now, Chris? You were right." And I'd not even seen him through the whole nonsense. And he shouted it out in the street. "All right, hey, Chris, you happy now? You happy?" I said, "I never even discussed it with you." "Yeah, but I know what you were thinking." It's quite funny.
But so many people now, not just the COVID stuff, but I was talking to someone not yesterday, a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about, they're not into any of this, by the way. So I ended up in a conversation that with them, and they were asking me questions. I said, let's put it this way. Would you leave your kids with Boris Johnson? No. Rishi Sunak? Jimmy Savile? Kier Starmer? No. All these people have been put out there for you to trust. But you wouldn't leave your kids with them. Why? Because you don't fucking trust them. But yet they're the ones that are bringing these laws in to tell you that these things are good for you, that thing's bad for you. There's no chemtrails, but there is chemtrails. There's 5G is good. It's not harmful. Sorry. All these things these are the people who were put there as managers of this enterprise that's going on now to poison us all. Can't you see that? well, I suppose now you've put it like that, yeah. Would you leave your kids with Kier Starmer? That's a good one, isn't it? It's a good
That
title
is
for
a
a
good
podcast,
one.
isn't it?
Yeah, I like that. Do you know, I should call that. I should call this. Well, you know, I don't know about you, but when I'm putting the videos up onto YouTube, I can spend a long time thinking, what should I call this?
Yeah.
What is the strap line? Where was this conversation going? And I've thought that a couple of times since we've been talking. I thought, do you know, it's weird. Earlier on, we were talking about religion. Then we started talking about the Fleming brothers.
Yeah.
Then a bit of Richard Attenborough and David Attenborough. And now where are we? We're COVID. We're a bit of Elon Musk.
5G, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Chemtrails, yeah.
And I just think, why don't we just call this, Would You Leave Your Kids with Keir Starmer? But
I'm
you
with that
see,
one.
for me, he'll always just be Jimmy's friend.
Yes.
You
That's
could say
it.
that.
Would
You
you
could
leave your
say
kids
that.
with Jimmy's friend?
Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, then when you think of Jimmy's friend, people might mistake that for,
Prince
Charles.
But have you noticed how they're calling Prince Andrew now Andrew Mountbatten?
I know, the IRA's favourite man.
And a known nimbler.
Well, that's why they got him, didn't they? They blew him up
Apparently,
on
yes.
his boat, didn't they? Because no one would do anything about it. But look at that. I mean, Ted Heath was involved. Margaret Thatcher's dad was known
Cyril
to
Smith.
be at it. Cyril Smith. Anyone who's ever spent any time with
Even
Charles.
Sir David Owen, not David Owen, the guy that led the Liberal Party.
Yeah, Owen. Yeah, what's his first name? Can't remember.
There's David Owen, isn't it?
He's a lord now, isn't he?
Yeah.
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 We'll just call him
Oh,
Lord. Although to me they're not lords.
Is it David Owen with a doctor, wasn't
Dr. David Owen.
he? Yeah.
Yeah, he was there was two of them, wasn't
Who
there?
was that little
Tebbit.
guy that with black
Was
hair?
was it Tebbit? Was it?
No,
Lord
Tebbett's Tory.
Tebbit.
Tebbit were a Tory.
Yeah, no, it was David Steele.
David
and-
Steele.
David
that's the
Steele,
one.
that's it. Yeah.
So David Steele.
Because he used to have him in spin image, then go, oh, it's out fish.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
David Owen was the guy that hit him on the head, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Used to
yeah, he
smash
used to
his
smack
head
him on the
with a baseball bat and stuff. Well, I'll tell a couple of. David Steele, he knew about Cyril Smith, so he was leader of the Liberal Party or the Social Dems as they became,
Yeah.
and he knew about Cyril Smith and never said anything. And David Owen, Dr. David Owen, strange story about him. I think did I mention this the other night with Mike? We were talking about a doctor. I think was it Dr. Sargent, William Sargent, and William Sargent was head of the MK Ultra. I'm going to get this wrong now. Matt's going to bollock me. MK Ultra operation. William Sargent definitely was the part of the British arm of Tavistock's MK Ultra. All right, he ran an operation called the Sleep Room, where he put women to sleep for 3 months at a time. So they come in with psychiatric issues like anorexia or something like that. Put them to sleep for up to 3 months in an induced sleep, and electrocute them, lobotomize them, play like voices under the pillow with speakers and things like that, drug them, etc., etc. And he was friends with Ewan Cameron, the guy who ran the American Canadian stroke MK Ultra. Anyway, he trained David Owen before he became an MP. Dr. David Owen was trained by the MI5's head of basically psychological warfare, I presume.
Oh.
And if it would either him or Dr. Humphrey Osborne, something like that. But both of them two were into the psychology. So I can't remember now off the top of my head which one trained him. But David Owen was definitely trained by the guys that were running MK Ultra in Britain.
It's all interconnected, isn't it?
And so was,
whole
by the looks
thing.
of it, Dr. Richard Asher as well.
Oh, yeah, Jane Asher's dad, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a weird situation, wasn't it? Because Paul McCartney, or Shears, he was he was found dead there, wasn't he, in the basement or something?
Yes.
Asher's dad.
I did get that right. It's Dr. Owen. Dr. Owen was trained by William Sargent. I just looked up my notes there. William Sargent was basically, he was tasked with going to America to learn about MK Ultra. But it seems the other way around, because he was teaching Ewan Cameron about hypnosis. was William Sargent. Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Me and a mate of mine, Matt Sergio, I bought a couple of that guy's books, and it's some of the stuff they were writing about was like voodoo possessions, and this were in the 50s. They were writing about this stuff, and one of the pages said they had a girl screaming. It said Beatles possession. So they're writing about how music frequencies can control people. They've got a picture of a girl. I think John Lennon used to say that girls used to wet themselves and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they couldn't control themselves. They got into some kind of frenzy. But isn't it
Well,
weird
that was
how
the idea with the Beatles, wasn't it? That was a whole Tavistock experiment, wasn't it? Yeah.
well, people would argue against it, but I can't see any other angle than. But because if you think about it, right, if I organise a barbecue here, right, and every person's some kind of psychologist or international intelligence officer or whatever, you'd say that were a weird barbecue. Everyone's part of MK Ultra, psychiatrist, and but that is the music industry. All of these people are interconnected with, you see David Owen. I always thought he was a bit weird looking freak who was Secretary of State and all this Foreign Office, and you don't think that he were part of some kind of MK Ultra operation. They're like Manchurian candidates that are just turning out to have different roles in society.
Yeah.
Now, is that part of a bigger plan? I don't know. Or is it just human nature to make evil motherfuckers? I don't know. But it's certainly happening.
Well, a lot of people think that they're picked out at school, aren't they? That they are approached at school.
I would say that.
And it starts there. Yeah, they're
Chris,
cherry-picked.
You equated to Omen, don't you, Chris? Damien.
Well, maybe they're just in ancient satanic families.
Yes.
Or both.
Or all of the above, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you think,
I imagine if the three of us went to Eton right now, we'd have we'd be incredibly wealthy. But what price would you have paid? Oh, that would have been beaten out of you early on, I would have thought. But what goes on there? I mean, we know that, from stories we hear that, they're being buggered to death, aren't they? From a very young age, you get.
Well, if they're not, they're being terrorized. I mean, I'm writing a book. I don't know if you know that guy at the minute. So all my notes from 2021 I've been putting down in a book. So I'm on chapter 27 at the minute. I think there's about 50 chapters in it. So it's going to be quite a deep one.
Wow.
But there are several threads that run through. I've noticed as I'm editing and going back through, unknown to me, I knew there were some threads, but I didn't know how deep they all were. One of them is that all of the people I've written about so far, Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, Nadeem Zahawi, Michael Gove, Priti Patel, all these characters that were part of the cabinet were all bought and paid by Israel. All of them.
What?
They've all got connections to NGOs. They've had trips to go over, kiss the wall. They've done deals or they've been paid for by something. I'll use Boris Johnson example. He was funded by Baron Banforth, who owns JCB. Okay. JCB are one of the biggest suppliers of machinery to Israel. So when he was over there, he was selling machinery to Israel because what they're then using the bulldozers and the diggers for is flattening the Palestinians and putting Israeli settlers on their land. And they're using the JCBs to do it with.
And the whole Israel thing stinks, doesn't it? I mean, going all the way back to and I can never remember if it's the treaty, document, agreement, but Balfour. Is it the Balfour Declaration?
Yeah.
Where they basically give Rothschild
carte blanche.
Yeah, and a huge part of somebody else's land without even consulting the people of Palestine.
Well, I mean, I would say that the Palestinians weren't in charge of it then anyway, were they? Because it was British Palestine. So they were still ruled by an outside power back then.
It's disgusting, though, isn't it? I mean, because they were supposed to. I mean, that was supposed to be something that was.
We do know just by saying that we can be classed as anti-Semitic now.
Oh, my mum's Jewish.
Right. You get out of it, don't you?
There you go.
Yeah. So, mum's Jewish, wife's Muslim,
best friend now. Yeah.
Best mate's black.
Yeah.
Chuck it all at me.
Is he a good dancer? I hope he's a good dancer.
I've never seen
He's
him
black.
dance. No, he's ex-US military. But yeah, Andy in a fight, but I don't know about dancing.
I remember when I used to work at Standard Fireworks when I was a kid driving. I used to drive to Barnsley, so you can imagine accents over there. And this lad there, I forget what he was called now, lovely guy. He said, "Thou ought to come to my working men's club, Dom." Right? And he said, "We've got a black lad there. Right, nice lad, good dancer." Oh, well, thanks. It make me feel really welcome. Yeah. It's some northern soul on. Come on.
My mate said to me once, he goes, he said he was having a party. He built a bar. He turned his dining room into a bar. He'd done a really good job of it, to be fair. A really good job. It actually looked like a really sort of smart bar you'd find in the city or on a roof terrace in Manchester, you know. So it was just somewhere really flash like the Key, you know, Salford Keys or wherever. But he'd done a bloody good job of it, and he decided to get a barman. He paid a barman from a bar in town to come and work behind the bar for the night in his house. Invited all of his mates round, and he did a bit of a speech, and he said something about being black. And I stopped him dead. And I said, just say that again. And he said, what bit? I said, did you just say you were black? And he said, yeah. I said, I've been mates with you for years. And it took you until now to tell me you're black.
What do you mean he wasn't black then?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You've been
Yeah. And
sarcastic,
I said,
Chris. Come on.
I can't believe you've been lying to me for all this time. And you break it to me tonight that you're black. I'm disgusted and I stormed out the room.
Brilliant.
And he was like, you wanker. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Because I kind of maintain this thing. Obviously, my missus is from Tanzania. My wife's she's East African. And you know, I've witnessed racism, not directed at me, but a little bit of my youngest son, a bit of my wife, a bit of my best mate over the years. And I maintain one thing: if you're being cut out of a car by the fire service, you know, in a central reservation, fighting for your life, and you need a blood transfusion, are you going to ask the ambulance service what colour the person was? Or even what sexuality or religion they practiced.
No, you're not going to give a shit.
No,
I might
it's
ask if they've
funny
been
that.
jabbed. I might ask if they've been jabbed.
Now that's something that's
Have
the
they been
one
jabbed?
thing you would want to know, isn't it?
It's the only thing I'd want to know. Yeah.
You would want to know because I remember when HIV was introduced
Yeah.
by whichever
you know,
sinister
It's a
department.
question I ask. I mean, we're part spook, and I don't know if you noticed that. And I ask my mates, white and black, what is racism? What actually is it?
Mm.
You know, is it calling somebody a black this or that, or a brown this or that, or what does it actually mean? I mean, the word itself means a race of people that think they're superior than another race of people. That's racism. I wouldn't say a lot of people that call people names are actually superior anyway. So whether they think it or not,
No.
I never met a smart racist.
yeah,
No.
but
Once you
what-
start going on, then you start thinking.
but I think it's another name, like the LGBT stuff, that's been utilized and weaponized back at people. Queer Starling were on about racism again today. Do you know that doctor, that gay doctor, that Asian guy who's on kids' TV?
With Thunderbird's eyebrows.
Him who looks like Angry Birds. Yeah,
Angry Bird eyebrows.
Yeah. He was on all over 2021 and 2021, telling everybody to get tapped and wear a mask and all that type of stuff, and on kids' programs and stuff like that. And he was there talking about saying he was scared to be brown in Britain and stuff to Queer Starling. And Queer Starling brought it back up again that, yeah, this should have been, you know, racism should have been finished years ago. You know, why is it now we're back at this point where racism and
Because the TV tells us it is. That's why.
Yeah,
It kind of was over.
Exactly.
It's not.
It was. And
No one
also
gave a shit.
in football, they have to wear. That's when Matt Letizia were on. He said, you know, they had to wear kick racism out and all this type of stuff. And although I agree there shouldn't be racism, but most of the players now are black in football, or there's a high proportion of black players in comparison to what they were in the 80s, let's face it, that are black. And most of them people going watching them are white. So I don't think they've got a problem with them being black players.
And also we've reached the point where everyone's got a family member who's of mixed race, or at least a friend of mixed race. Or,
I've even got a fucking brother.
But they're I'll tell you something I found out today, which is quite interesting. I was working in.
You've got bigger nostrils than me.
Yeah, hilarious. I'm working in a restaurant, and there's an Asian guy who works there. He's Indian, and he's got to leave in a month, right? So they brought the new rules that they brought in some years ago, which are now just coming into effect. Is you used to have to, you could earn, if you wanted to work here as a migrant, 22 grand, I think it was 24 grand, which is, minimum wage, and you're doing 40-hour week. I think that's about equates, right? He said then it went, because I was asking about it today, and then it went up to 32 grand. And he said, again, could be feasible, whatever. But now it's 42 grand, right? And you think of all the migrants that work in London doing jobs that, without being rude, most English people won't fucking do. Let's be honest. It's rude, but it's true. And I mean, I work in that industry, and
you're a migrant.
And I've worked in London, and everyone who works in that industry is, not everyone, but most people. If I put it this way, when I was a head chef in London, if I advertised for any job from kitchen porter to sous chef, it'd be surprising if an English person turned up. So what's going to happen to these places in the next 5 to 10 years? When
I don't think there's going to be anybody anywhere, Chris. That's the thing, isn't it?
They will not be here to work. And when you think it's another version of exactly what's happening in America with Trump, with that ICE thing. It's the same thing. It's just a slower, stranger.
It's just an English way.
English version.
Squeeze. Yeah,
that's the Trump version. We've got the English version. But who the fuck's going to work in these? I'm using London as an example, but it's everywhere in England, in the country. Who's going to be working in these jobs?
But have you noticed, Chris? Who's going to be around? I mean, one of my son's mate's mum's been seriously ill last week. I mean, she might have had flu tap this week. I don't know, but she's been seriously ill in hospital. I read between the lines. It sounded like sepsis. Yeah.
Oh shit! My friend's mum just died from that.
Yeah,
last week.
But how many people are you hearing now? Famous people, even on telly. When I go onto my Yahoo to look at my emails, and you go into that shit news page that's there before it, all these people that have been either diagnosed with this or dead of that or crippled with this and whatever. These are people now. You didn't see that in 2019.
No,
that wasn't a thing. That wasn't a thing. I was listening to a conversation the other day, and I didn't even know who the people were. And a football game, and I heard them talking. Yeah, such and such has been diagnosed. Such and such died, and I'm thinking, what the fuck's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, people aren't connecting the dots, and this is going to ramp up.
This is right. Going back to what you were saying, Chris, they're doing two things. They're getting rid of the people like that. What you were talking about there. The managing them. They used to call it in business managing people out of the job.
But how quiet?
They used to manage them out, get them to take early redundancy or pension them off, and then they'd cut the workforce down slowly over a period of 4 or 5 years.
But how quietly are they doing that? Because that's not been in. I didn't know that, and I've worked in that industry my whole life, and they've creeped it in this new thing. You got to be earning this much money to work here, and that'll go all over Europe now because we're not in the. That'll go all over Europe.
I tell you what would be an interesting one, Chris. Do you know when they do those? What they call them surveys when they come round and they say it's law that you've got to fill it out and all that type of stuff.
Census.
Census, yeah. When they do the census, I reckon a lot of that is brought in 2 or 3 years. Like, right, we don't need all them people now bottle washing because in 10 years' time we're going to have a big dip in
robots,
exactly, or whatever. Yeah. People aren't going to be around. Just going back, actually, do you know we were talking about these people at these schools where they go through? One thing that came out was all of these people went to school, right, at a time when every one of them had a notorious paedophile that's been locked up now or arrested or being chased. One of them were in South Africa. They couldn't get hold of him, couldn't get an extradition on him. So Boris Johnson, when he was at school, was several at his school, all the way through him being at Ashdown House School. If you were Prime Minister or you were put like Mayor of London, a prominent editor of newspapers, then became a cabinet minister, then became prime minister. You would think that you would fucking say something, even if you hadn't been abused at that school and you had mates who had or whatever. You would think you would say something about what had gone on and that it's never going to happen again because I'm going to close this down and bring checks in. And if there was an inquiry going on at exactly the same time that you were prime minister, the IICA, the Independent Inquiry into Child Abuse, about your school, at exactly the same time you became prime minister, you would think that you would say something about that somewhere. He in his online borisjohnson.com or whatever it is website, in his blog, one of his blog, it said we used to get daily hit with either a whip or a hit. Jockery bat, he called it, which is like a baseball bat or a mini cricket bat, and the cane on a daily basis. From just a physical abuse, let alone sexual abuse.
Yeah.
He admitted he got the physical abuse to the point where I forget what he called it now, torturous or something like that. So he must have got it a bit to call it that. I mean, I got whacked a few times at school. I don't think of it as torturous. I just think I was being a little twat. But if you're purposely getting whacked, Tony Blair's the same as well. He had several. One of them took him under his wing, and he was a known weirdo. Took him under his wing, sat him on his knee. He's even written. Are you telling me they escaped all these people? I can't believe that they escaped him. Who was it? Michael Gove. He was another one. He was at school. This guy was at his school all the way through while he was there.
Now, is it at all possible that the reason that they don't talk and out them is because they were implicit?
Well, I have no proof that they were either involved in any shape or form in abused that way.
Well,
But
if you listen to
the silence is deafening.
If you listen to satanic abuse survivors, it's in their family for generations, and you have to wonder if it's that. Are they part of these generational Satanists?
Where almost it's not accepted as such, but it's something that they've been indoctrinated into.
Yeah.
They've grown up. It's almost built in.
If you listen to some of these
rite of passage type thing.
If you listen to some of these survivors, it's part of their system. That is part of their system in all the families. That means possibly, and I'm not saying it's true, they've all suffered it. They have to go through it to be part of that family.
Yeah.
Well, with all Boris Johnson's bluster and his big words and his speeches and all this type of stuff, he never says anything about this.
No.
Michael Gove, he's another one mouthy. But Stanley Johnson went through his school was a known, whatever it be, secondary school. Before he went to Eton, there was a known paedophile there, all the way through. So he went there, and Boris went there. But sorry. Yeah.
Well, do you remember That's Life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if many people watching this will know that, or are old enough to know that. But that was kind of Sunday night, and you watched it because it was quite interesting, wasn't it? And they'd usually have an expose, and then she founded Childline, didn't she? The emergency number we could all call from the phone box, and I think it was something like 1111. It was just 4 numbers or something, wasn't it? The whole time that she was running Childline and presenting on That's Life, she was having an affair with the head of the Scottish judicial system, the equivalent of our Attorney General, I don't know what the name is, Lord Advocate or something in Scotland, who was a known child abuser and never been prosecuted. The whole time she was having an affair, there were people investigating him, he was being accused of all sorts, and there she is founding Childline. The whole thing is connected. This is incestuous. It's and the reason, like my wife often says to me, I can't believe that these people aren't prosecuted. I can't believe that they get away with it. And I said, I can believe it because you go right to the very top, and they're doing it more than anyone else. They're not,
Yeah. And then there's the theory of Esther Ranson that Childline was just to draw people to call that number so they knew who they were grassing up. And think
Right.
that copper, is it John Ledger?
No, Wedger, John
Wedger,
Wedger.
sorry, John
Yeah.
Wedger. I think he said no one ever got prosecuted through child
Yeah,
marriage.
yeah, maybe.
So what were the point in that?
That makes sense, and of course, connected with the BBC, which for years I've told people that I've spoken to that know the BBC, but maybe they live in another country and don't know what it stands for. And I said to them, well, it's actually a initialism for blatantly buggering children.
Mm.
Because that really is the sort of the foundation of that organisation.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking on a podcast a few weeks ago, months ago, whatever it was, that they put the Eric Gill statue. In fact, I just sent an email to Mark Devlin and Matt Sergiu today, because Mark, I think it was Matt that sent something over about Fern Cotton's dad, a
Yeah.
picture
Right.
of him with Jimmy Savile. And now, here, so he was the head of BBC while Savile did all his Jim will fix it and all that type of
Burn
stuff.
Cotton's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
wow.
just let me read the email. Yeah. So, so yeah, he sent. So, BBC DJ and presenter Fern Cotton, former girlfriend of paedophile Ian Watkins of the Prophets, who killed himself or got killed, is the great niece of Bill Cotton, who was the BBC executive and TV producer. To quote Wikipedia, Cotton was responsible for overseeing the production of a whole series of Jim Will Fix It. And there's a picture there with him, Jim Will Fix It.
Oh wow.
We don't get told all this shit, do we?
The apple never falls far, does it?
And so I sent a picture, because me and Chris were talking about Eric Gill, weren't we, Chris? The statue outside BBC. So I don't know if I can share this. I'm going to share something. You see that?
Not yet.
Yes.
Yeah, the BBC reinstates a sculpture by paedophile Eric Gill in a new protective screen. Can you remember somebody went and chiseled it off?
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. So broadcaster says it does not condone abusive behaviour of its creator after repairs to the statue of Ariel and Prospero.
Don't matter who you call it, it's a guy holding a naked child.
By a
Who's
pedo.
told you out.
Oh,
Carved by a
come
pedo.
on. Why?
Well, I think we know why, guy.
Yeah, we know why, don't we?
But I haven't paid my TV license in years. I don't watch TV. Yeah. I've got Netflix
Yeah.
and YouTube.
Yeah.
And people say why, and I said, well, I'm not going to support that. I won't support it.
That's what you're supporting. That is what.
Yeah.
And Matt, I said to Matt, we've got the hallmarks of a podcast here. They sent me this email. You should see emails me and Matt send each other. Sent me an email of a blog he wrote about several years ago, listing all the people who work for the BBC who've been sent down. It goes back to, this one's in 1967. He was convicted in 1974. Chris Denning. There's loads of them.
And I like to think, and I think I'm quite safe to say, I don't really know any paedophiles, but these fuckers are surrounded by them, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. How do you get? I mean, I actually said, imagine starting a business, an organisation that was infested with paedophiles, intelligence agents. What else did I say? Psychos.
Well, you've just described a typical cabinet, haven't you?
You've described
a government office.
All of the above, haven't you? Because
a royal family. I mean, you've described that basically. You've described our
any
infrastructure.
Institution. Yes.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. You've described any British institution. It's rotten to the core. Always has been. The whole lot needs chucking in the bin, and we need to start again.
Because talking to the schools, when you think, it's not just politicians that go to these schools. I mean, there were a guy, I forget his name now. He went to Ashdown House, and he made a documentary. That's the school that Boris went to, and all his family. Put it this way: Stanley was that powerful. It was an all-boys school, and he made them take his daughter. That's how powerful that's the connection Stanley Johnson had from working with John D. Rockefeller III directly on population control in the 60s. But I'm just lost my train of thought now. Anyway, it's gone.
He lives down here somewhere. His dad lives.
Stanley.
Yeah, he lives down here somewhere. Boris was, I used to live in a place called Tiverton in Devon, and Boris was there a few years ago. I
Mm,
was there, and someone said that he was in town with his dad, that people had seen him. He was getting married down here.
right.
And his dad used to, I'm sure his dad used to beat seven bells out of his mum.
He
Yeah,
broke a nose.
yeah, he did.
Mm,
She went in a mental
That's what we're
institution.
saying. The guy that made the documentary, he made a documentary about Ashdown House, and he worked out that about 75% of all politicians go to boarding school.
mm,
So but it's not just politicians. When you look at these schools and you look at the notable alumni, it's army leaders, lawyers
mm,
who become PCs or KCs or whatever you want to call it, King's Counsel, barrister type people. It's professors, teachers at universities, etc. It's business leaders, it's musicians. So even from every generation, you look at the people who've gone to these schools, and it's all the same people.
mm,
And it reminded me of like the Young Global Leaders, the World Economic Forum. That's the next step in it. So they leave university and they go into the Young Global Leaders.
mm.
Then they go into another organization and they're just
Yeah,
passed on. Or it
yeah,
seems that way.
yeah.
Because they cater for every. There were an intelligence department in America called CIC, the Counterintelligence Corps, or something like that. And that had loads of people in it. I mentioned it again on the podcast the other day. That's why it's in my mind. Like Clint Hill, who was the guy that jumped on the back of JFK's car. The ex Chancellor of Germany, I forget what he was called, in the 70s. These people are nurtured through in this counterintelligence corps. Henry Kissinger was one of them. Several other people were there. Who is it? Miles Copeland Jr., Stuart Copeland's dad, was one of them. And then they go on to lead not what the class as normal lives. They'll
Mm,
become an architect or whatever, you know. And it showed what jobs they had. It listed the jobs of these people. Like obviously Clint Hill went to the Secret Service. Miles Copeland Jr., Stuart Copeland's dad, became CIA head of station of bloody the Middle East, conducting coups and things like that. But they all went to schools before that. They're all picked out. They had to be. Well, in my opinion, they had to be.
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
hypothesizing
yeah.
there, but it just seems that way.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Just like that story you told to Boris that time when we did our first podcast, where
Yeah. Yeah.
what did
It's
Boris
already,
say? He wasn't happy, but he had no choice.
yeah. It's already predetermined. It's all laid out. They're just puppets, aren't they? And manipulated. And probably there's some shit on them as well along the way.
I said
I
they
just
have to have
realised
shit on
that,
them.
yeah,
That's,
that there's enough. Yeah, they're going to have enough shit to gather on them, aren't they? From a young age as well. I just realised how long we've been talking for. We've been chatting for nearly 2 hours now.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Where
We
did
do
that go?
I don't know. We do get carried away, don't we?
Yeah, where the bloody hell did the last 2 hours go? Well, I suppose it's time to say goodbye now. I'm going to go and have a pee and a fag.
Can't fault you.
Thanks for letting us know, guy. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
something to eat. I need to eat.
Haven't you?
No,
Oh, bless you. It's a bit
that's
late
all
to
right.
eat now, isn't it?
I'd say he eats like a blue bottle.
Yeah, Mrs. is said.
They eat like anacondas. They eat one big meal a month. They eat like a raw deer. And
There is some truth there.
yeah.
Well,
Right then. Cheers.
thank you.
Lovely
Thank
to
you.
chat to you as always, guy.
Yeah, it's lovely to chat to you too. And I'm
It's-
definitely going to call this something along the lines of,
Yeah.
would you let Kier Starmer babysit?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something like that, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been nice talking to a fellow controlled opposition.
Yeah, thank you. And as I was saying to you earlier on, my butler and I laugh about that so much. In fact, it'd be interesting to see if he's polished my shoes because I left him a list of jobs to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, and my special briefcase and my Illuminati apron and yeah. Hopefully he's fueled the helicopter.
Not wrong with an helicopter.
Well, thank you once again. And well, I'll leave it for you two to say bye.
Yeah.
Bah.
Bah.
Bah. Thanks again for coming on.
Cheers, mate.
It's lovely chatting to you, and we'll have to do this again.
Yeah.
No doubt we will.
Yeah.
I've got no doubt we will, mate.
So long
See
and
you later,
bye for
guys.
now. Bye bye.
Cheers.